meeting on December 11th, 2025. We have an agenda. It should be in front of you. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda, we have 3 accounts that we're going to look at today, starting with 2210 winter maintenance. Give everybody a second to get there. Sorry, winter road maintenance. Different kind of maintenance.
I intended to have that on the agenda the other day.
Oh,
And when I started reconciling the file, I'm like, oops.
so we have the salt and the winter sand and the contracted services. Is there anything particular you want to tell us about this, Terry? Or Christie?
Go ahead.
Oh, I think just to note that the current 3-year contract with R.A. Weber and Sons is ending in May of 2026. So we've done a projection for the fall of the first group of payments. But, at this point, we might do a 1-year extension. I mean, we haven't really discussed where we're going with that in the future.
Christie, could you just, in 10-second review of the process of finding a replacement for R.A. Weber? Is it
Well,
open bid or what?
We have had open bid processes in the past, and we had for a long period of time a company out of Topsom. You're gonna help me.
Goodall?
Goodall, thank you. Good. It started as a landscaping company, and then they,
Right.
Yep.
went into winter maintenance projects, and so we had them for a number of years. We've had Crooker, and prior to that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, it's an open process, but they've had it, I think this is their second 3-year term in the more recent era. And,
So are they no longer interested in plowing?
oh, no, I think they are interested.
Okay.
I think
So they
Megan
would
was
be
just
included.
asking, are we going to have an open process? If it's a 1-year extension, the current contract can be extended for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the
they're
board
still
can
in-
always enter into a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
So
The
that might
select
be
board.
something we discussed.
Right, not
but
us.
If we wanted to do something multi-year, we would go out to bid again.
Okay.
But that decision hasn't been made. And, ultimately, the select board could decide to sole source, but, if it's determined that there's really not any other company interested, but we usually test the waters,
Good
usually.
idea.
Yeah.
Just a small technical note on the winter sand. I think the numbers should be 9528 and 10,800. Not sure what happened there. 600 yards at 1588 and 600 yards at 18, so that would change those two numbers and the number in the table above.
To what now?
9,528 and 10,800, unless my calculator is malfunctioning.
Well, interestingly enough, the sand came in, again, that was estimated as well, and the sanding came in quite a bit higher.
Yes, it did.
So since it's, how much is it off by?
Let me see.
But it looks like those numbers are about twice what the numbers at the left would indicate yards and dollars. That's all.
Okay, I'm getting the number that you have. This number, I'm getting 23,328.
We're not following, Dave.
I'm not getting.
Yeah, I'm not, where are you, Dave?
Down at the bottom where it's.
Down at the
Down at the
bottom.
bottom, 600 times 1588, am I getting that right?
Is 9528.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Right, and the number in the column is 20,320.
Because you have to add the two
You have
together.
Another
the
600
two.
yards at 18.
So they've already.
So we estimate
purchased
1,200 yards.
Yeah.
And there's 600 at a known price, and then there was 600 at an estimated price.
Okay,
It's still
I got you.
Because there's 2
I
sections to
thought those
winter.
referred to each of the years. Okay, that's good.
So is sand sole source, or can we put that out for bid as well?
It went out to bid.
And yeah.
Is that a realistic process, or is it just one person out there who sells sand?
No, there's a couple people,
Are we
and
two
unfortunately,
bids?
one of the vendors who typically bids just overlooked it this year, so we ended up with one bid. But you just never know,
Yeah,
and it happened to be higher, and here we are.
here we are.
But the SALT is part of a very large group. We get the same rates as the Greater Portland Council of Governments and the Mid-Coast Council of Governments. So we're in a very large pool, and most companies cannot get this kind of price that we get. So we buy it directly, no tax,
Great.
and it's in the salt shed and used by the contractor.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions on this one?
No, ma'am.
Okay, move forward to debt service, which is account 7,000. Yep.
So I did want to say that I would like to provide a new schedule to the committee at your meeting on Monday. The estimated, let me step down through from the beginning. So, of course, we have long-term and short-term debt, and these payments, including interest, are known, and we are committed to those, and there's really no changing the fixed amounts. But, of course, in this year's budget, there was two proposed and estimated interest for issuing the bond for the, and it ended up being $1,150,000, not $1,150,500 for the Mitchell Field boat launch, and those bids were received, and the interest was higher than estimated, so I would like to rework that. And because of changing the schedule for the payment, there's several rules that follow, regarding borrowing. And with next year, we will be borrowing the $6 million for the Central Emergency Services Building and our short-term borrowing for the TAN, and we need to try to stay under the $10 million so that we can remain bank qualified, which is what banks look for, obviously. So between the fact that the boat launch project has really taken off, it wasn't too far of a jump to change the Mitchell Field boat launch to December versus January, which adds a second interest payment in 2026. So I really do need to rework the Mitchell Field boat launch part of this debt service. And in conjunction with the Mitchell Field boat launch this year and our short-term borrowing for the tax anticipation note borrowing, we will be proceeding with a 24-month exception due to arbitrage, so, which is fine, we can certainly meet that. But I'm just bringing to your attention that the interest is going to be probably about $44,000 greater than estimated on this schedule. And I will show that, and I'll update the long-term debt schedule that you have behind this in your book and provide that to you on Monday. But I would like to add $44,000 to the debt service interest line.
Okay.
And that's just a timing issue, really, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Terry and Christie, I've raised this point before, but we have these enormous items coming at us. Now, one is reality, the $6 million, Terry, which you just mentioned. And of course, the fire station is there, and then the more fluid ones, if I make a pun, of road washouts and things like this that are going on. Bethel Point, over $1 million, I remember, from a presentation, and others. Have you done any modeling of our budget with the full force of this borrowing? $12 million for these two new buildings.
So it's only the
2 million?
There's just one building.
It's one building.
Just emergency services. I don't know what other $6 million.
Are you thinking about the transfer station?
Yes, I'm thinking.
That's
Oh.
not a $6 million building. That's a 1.5-ish.
And we have the funding for that.
We're building the reserve for that.
And the fire station, though, is.
It's just a $1.6 million borrowing.
Yes, all right, fine.
Yes.
But still, there's a lot more than we have had in our history coming at this budget, and it's going to just cascade down through it with every other budget line.
Well, we've done projections with our debt service payment because we'll be paying that back over years, obviously.
Of course.
And then we've done some effects on the tax rate.
Yeah. No, those are all obvious things, but so we have some sort of feeling of the parameters of the impact from these initiatives that we must take. There's no question about it.
Of course,
Have you sort of made a spreadsheet that, plays with these variables? The interest rate, the amount that we'll have to borrow, the best information we have on the road repairs from a rising sea level, what we know.
we have all sorts of spreadsheets and
Good.
data on our different capital projects. The road ones, Mary Ann's going to talk to you about that. Because we have costs for that doesn't mean that we're going to do them.
Of course not.
Yeah, so that's, so that affects your annual budget. And so the known things are definite. We definitely have impacts from our central emergency services building.
Right.
But we have not factored in roads, and you're going to hear you've been provided a very detailed memo from the regional insight that came in your initial book.
Got you. No, I've seen that.
And then Mary Ann will be speaking to that.
What I'm looking for is sort of some comprehensive view, sort of asking a what-if question right along.
So, these are important topics, that no doubt. In terms of major buildings that the town might need in the next 5 to 10 years, we are not currently projecting one. This will be our largest public works project ever in Harpswell, the Emergency Services Building. So we don't foresee a major building being undertaken. But we are looking at replacing the recycling center building, and we have been building
Indeed.
a reserve for that purpose. I think the roads area, and I was going to talk about this when we get to that section, we are going to spend more time looking at the next 5 to 10 years with the roads, because we haven't made major decisions about how much we want to put into building resiliency. Some of the numbers we are seeing
Critical
are
question.
huge. And some communities are saying a less expensive approach is to communicate to locations in your town that when certain events are going to happen, that you will need to evacuate. Because they're not willing to spend the kind of money it takes to maybe build a bridge or,
Exactly.
make a road higher. So I can't say that we have developed that schedule, but we're in sort of this period of time when we're talking a lot about what do we see the town doing in the next 5 to 10 years on the roads, which roads, and depending upon those roads, if it's Bethel Point, there's going to be a discussion about that at some point. Are we going to build in, this resiliency factor, which is substantial?
Yeah.
So I can't say that we have projected all of that out, but it's certainly an awareness we have, something we're discussing. We're trying to get a sense from the road commissioner about what he would choose as the next group of roads, prioritize them. We haven't received that updated scheduled yet. We have a capital road plan with previous cost estimates, but they have not been updated.
Sure.
So we need to do that as well. Roads is an area where we do spend a lot of money. We try to build reserves and not borrow. But sometimes if there's a project of a certain magnitude,
Yeah.
we will consider doing that.
Well, the fact that you're thinking ahead
Yeah.
on these things
Yeah.
and trying to model
course. Yeah.
is really a very good answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the people who, when you say we,
We.
are we are talking?
Staff.
The staff, and does that include the sustainability and resiliency
Well, we
committee?
talked to the chair of the committee. We also can utilize engineering funds. When we start to really hone in on the priority roads, that's when we can start talking about, and I use Bethel Point because I think that has been part of one of the studies. Are we going to budget for all of the resiliency factors that are being proposed, or are we going to modify some of those recommendations? And again, when the engineers give us these proposals, they say, there are options. You don't have to pick the most expensive one. So you've
we've-
seen some of those numbers, right, Selectman Gilly? And,
No, everybody understands that.
yeah. So, that's an important piece. I will say, in Harpswell, we have a lot of private roads. And so one of the pieces that the Resiliency Committee has worked hard on is trying to educate people. If you live on a private road, you may have some issues that you need to be thinking about. So we're aware of our roads that are most vulnerable. We actually would like to see the state get a little more involved with some of the other vulnerabilities that we find, like the Cribstone Bridge and the Potts Point Causeway and the entrance between Brunswick and Harpswell on the 123 side. So we all have a lot to do, and we've got a lot of planning, we've got a lot of kind of public education to undertake, and it's going to take money to do some of these projects, and so we will.
What's animated my question is I just don't like surprises.
Yeah, no, I know.
To the best you can model the unknown.
And
so it
grant funding will always be
Of course.
an idea,
Yeah.
that we will pursue.
Great.
Yeah.
Good review. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions on the debt service? So we are going to capital reserves, which we sort of just did a little bit of.
Maybe I covered roads, but actually I think.
No, it's not quite the same.
No, it isn't quite the
No.
same. Oh, okay, got it.
So these funds carry over, of course.
Yes, capital funds do.
Yep.
And you received a new handout today, I believe, too.
Yes.
Giving you maybe a little more detail. So you can see in 9,200, we have quite a few capital accounts. And again, I think this is good fiscal management, looking at some of these areas of the town budget that we do need to build reserves for. And one of them is, and I don't know if you want me to talk about every one of them or just the ones we're proposing to put appropriations in. What would be your preference?
Let's start definitely with that.
The ones that we're
Okay.
going to add to, I would think.
All right,
Because we've
so-
discussed the others in
Okay,
the past.
great. So we have a town office improvement and facilities, and it was also covered HVAC. We're proposing in this 2026 budget to put $75,000 in that. We currently have, I think you've got an updated sheet here, Terry, is that right? Or it's pretty close to what was in there. We have about 108,000 currently in that account. We put 75 in. We do have a plan that we want to undertake to improve all the walkways around the town office, especially in this back area. It's really becoming quite a mess and a bit treacherous, and we were thinking about doing it in 2025, but then we had to replace our septic system here at the town office. So we were able to get a grant, thanks to Terry's work, and we did have some additional funding that we used from this account to cover the cost of that new septic system. The next capital account that we're proposing to put $60,000 in the coming year is our vehicle account, and we use that primarily to purchase vehicles for our contract with Cumberland County. It could be a kind of Tahoe-like vehicle for the law enforcement folks, and then it's a truck for marine wardens. And currently, in the proposed contracts, we would be buying one new Tahoe-like vehicle, and it has a lot of equipment. Was it like 80,000 total? So that would come out of this budget. Some years, they hit us up for 2 vehicles because, again, by contract, the vehicles have to be replaced at 120,000 miles. I think that's just law enforcement because they use them in a different way.
Then you stick it out front.
Pardon, and then
Well, I was about
have
to
you seen
ask.
some out back
We
too?
do. You use them, codes use
We've
them?
actually been using a number of these vehicles. We have, the assessing department uses a vehicle, the fire administrator uses a vehicle. Help me out.
The harbor master.
Harbor master uses a vehicle. And,
And we have one extra right now that the deputy harbor master and monitors have been using, but that may be going under sale.
it's interesting because the animal control officer would like a vehicle. We constantly get these kind of conversations, but for now, the animal control officer, the town pays mileage, and that's kind of how that's been working. And
Okay.
I don't know. We haven't seen the need to provide that yet.
Okay.
but there may come a point when that happens.
But we're only buying one vehicle this year.
Right,
Okay.
that's correct.
And that's for the sheriff's
Law
deputies,
enforcement, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And then we have the recycling center and transfer station. And for those of you who have been on the committee for a while, I mean, we started out with a $600,000 figure, and this thing just keeps morphing and building and growing and changing. And we do have a working group, which a member of the budget committee is on, to just look at what are our current operations, and do we need the same size building? Yes, no.
Yeah.
If we don't need the same size, could part of that building be used for other purposes? And I think a small public works department was mentioned as one idea. So anyway, the number that we received from the engineer several months ago was like a 1.5 to 1.7. You know, we've had some people who say they think the engineer's estimate is very high and we can do this for much less, and, you know, it's
But
just,
Chuck spoke to it at last week's,
Yeah.
He did
Monday's
speak.
meeting,
Yeah,
and
so-
He did.
he thinks the new plan could be quite a bit less.
That's
But you're
the-
asking for
unfortunately-
300,000 to go. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
Unfortunately, the mic was off when Chuck was speaking, and
that's
so
too
I
bad.
didn't hear his presentation. But I'm glad he said that.
But you would be able to watch YouTube, our
That's true.
YouTube channel. Good.
Would the
Okay.
YouTube have picked it up?
Yes, yes.
If,
Right?
Yes, the sound was
Yeah.
working on the computer in the other room. Zoom was not
Was
unmuted.
muted. Yeah.
okay. Right. Okay.
YouTube
I know
captured
you
it
were
all.
trying to talk at one point, and we couldn't hear anything that you said. And was that the same problem?
But then
No.
when he chatted with me, I went and turned it on,
Yeah, and then we were okay.
and then he heard the rest, hence his specific emojis for specific
We did
statement.
like those. That-
Yeah,
I was doing that all on the bus to Boston, so you
But-
wouldn't have wanted to hear the sounds around me.
But YouTube did pick up of course, that full recording is available.
We all want to know how you got the emoji to kind of go up the side of the
I don't
screen.
know, it's just
I think
magic.
they
It's
do
a
that. They
feature.
slow down.
What do they call that?
Anyway, we were impressed. Okay, next account that we're proposing to put some money in is the boat and motor replacement account. It currently has about 20,000. We're proposing to put 10 in, bringing it up to 30, a little over, or close to 31,000, I should say. And there's some discussion about getting a boat in 2028. I do not have information on what that proposed boat would be, what it would cost. I think this is all very preliminary, so.
Is that a new boat for the harbor master?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if Select Board Member Gilly has any more to add at this point. It's all very early on.
It's pretty early.
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they're not cheap.
I know they're not
You
cheap.
gotta
You
build a
know, so it's
reserve.
just-
I'm just
We buy
surprised because
yeah.
it feels like just
Yesterday,
yesterday.
he got one.
Well, that was the airboat just yesterday, but.
That was the airboat.
How,
Right.
how
The Harbor
old is-
Master boat,
That's pretty
10?
old.
oh my gosh.
15 years?
Prior to
No.
'06.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna say, I
no,
was here,
no,
So
no.
Paul was here for 10 years, is that right?
8.
8.
He
okay.
got it.
He was here for 8, and
So-
we had that boat when
We
he.
had
Yes,
that boat, right,
we,
yeah.
we did, but I remember the previous boat, and I haven't been on this committee that long. I wasn't on in 2006.
I'm happy to look that up and
Okay.
provide that to you
Yeah,
on
I'm just
Monday.
curious.
think I-
Because my boat, my own boat, maybe Matt can tell, how old is your boat?
My boat is 38.
Yeah, I was going to say mine is 34.
Mine's 44.
Yeah,
And my
see.
brother built it.
And I just am surprised, because boats can last a long time.
Yeah. I mean,
It doesn't mean we have to.
Right.
We're just,
They're
we just
looking at
felt
it.
we needed more than
Yeah, yeah.
$20,000 in that reserve. Because if something did,
Up to the task of
Yes.
the harbor master's job, do you think?
that's a good question.
I think now, but I think it's quickly changing. I mean, because of just the sheer growth in moorings we've seen over the last 5-10 years in town. And we're building a new boat launch at Mitchell Field, which is going to increase the amount of ocean users and stuff. So I think we're only going to see it grow. It's certainly not going to shrink. And I think it's sufficient for now, but I don't know how long that will last.
That's an interesting question, because if more boat who has authority over boats out there? Is it the Coast Guard? or-
The Coast Guard does, the Marine Patrol does.
Right, right,
Um,
yeah.
If I'm speeding with my boat, do I get pulled over?
No, well, no wake zone.
No wake zone.
There's no wake
But
zone.
that's
The
about
harbor-
it.
Yeah, but
I'm just,
I don't even know.
I've never seen
not
a
gonna say
harbor
it on the
master pull somebody
microphone.
over.
You get shouted at.
But I assume at the appropriate time, there'll
I'm
be a
not- it's a
discussion as to
sailboat.
whether
I'm not
whether
going that
re-engining the
fast.
boat makes sense or a new
Exactly,
Yeah.
boat.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was.
And that was
curious.
the other thing I was
I
gonna
agree with
add
the reserves,
is,
because boats have gotten extremely
just
expensive.
based on what that has now for an outboard, I mean,
Yeah.
you're borderline with what you have there for funds to replace it if the outboard needs to be replaced, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just a little bit
Oh,
extra
yeah.
would make sure you at least cover an outboard
In
replacement.
fact, you just answered one. Couldn't remember if it was an inboard or an outboard.
It's a big outboard.
Oh,
Big outboard, yeah, those were
What's the
expensive
horsepower,
too.
do you remember?
It was 175, I wanna say.
Okay.
Or, yeah, I think it was
It's a
175.
lot of horses.
So installed, that'll run about 200. I got twin 175s on mine. That's
Yeah.
give or take. Then you, VHFs and other things, you know, GPS,
Yeah.
you go through the whole thing when you do that, right?
Right.
Megan?
So a foundational question. These are literally cash accounts, and our cash is somewhere earning interest and waiting to be spent? Good. It's not a notion, it's the real thing.
It's the real thing. By law, the municipality cannot expend its reserve funds that have been specifically voted on by the legislative body. I have a separate bank account that has the reserve fund sitting in it earning interest.
Where are the accounts, Terry?
Our depository relationship is with the Androscoggin Bank.
And what's the rate that you receive on this account?
It's 0.75% less than the SOFR, the Secured Overnight Financing Rate, which
Which in the end turns out to be roughly,
3.5% to 4%.
And does just for my own sake, does the interest the account earn just go right back into the account? Then it's earned?
Yes.
Yep.
do you have any options with respect to investing that money, or is it all essentially dictated by state or whatever?
There are some options. Harpswell, traditionally, each treasurer has been very conservative. At most, we will do some CDs.
It seems like there's enough here where probably
Yes.
take a little term structure risk, meaning it doesn't need to all be overnight because you're never going to spend this amount of money overnight. You could probably go out the curve just a little bit, but I'm not
have
sure
it-
what you pick up these days anyway.
And have it in, of course, U.S. Treasuries like that, which are very conservative.
Are they now?
Yes.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
I think for our lifetimes they are. That will change.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for
Sure.
explaining all that to us.
The next reserve account is for office equipment, includes,
Christie, just
Yes.
one question before you leave that. Is the, Chuck mentioned the backhoe in 28, is that accounted for in the reserving amounts for the transfer
I mean,
station?
we're aware that we need to be able to purchase that, so, you know,
We'll be able to adjust when we.
Yeah, we'll be
This
able to-
plan is supposed to be finalized in 2026 with some estimated costs. And so we, based on the number that he's just discussed behind the scenes with us, we will continue to, we will make sure we
yeah.
have
I
funds
mean,
available for
If it breaks
2028.
down
Thought is alive
tomorrow,
in
if it
there.
breaks down tomorrow, we can replace it,
Yep.
you know, with funds there.
What's the cost of a
Of that backhoe, did he say 90-something thousand? I thought, was it higher?
You're right. It was in that range. Yeah. A lot.
Yeah, yeah. I think there could be some trade-in value to what we currently have. but-
The last one we did get trade-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the office equipment is primarily for things within this building, like, we really are looking at a new phone system. We have, you know, they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but our system is close to being broken. It's a very old system, we can't really get replacement parts, can we, Terry, for some of the?
It is broken. If you try to call us, you can't leave voicemails. The delay in that, we would have jumped on that sooner, but this committee knows that contracted with Consolidated Communication. Everyone wants to say Fidium, but, and they are making that changeover, but the municipal side of it was going to be with Consolidated Communication. They were supposed to start this project and have it done in January. Fiber just got brought into this building last week. Once fiber is in here, I can work on getting the new phone system. It's not hooked up yet, but it's in the building.
How many Terrys are there in this office?
It is actively working fiber at the EMS building and at the recycling and transfer station, which has saved us some money. But we need to have fiber in this building because some of our YouTube recordings, Comcast is not keeping up. And we need a new phone system. As I said, you can't leave voicemails.
Some days you can,
Some days you can and some days you can't. But when the phone company comes to work on it, they have to bring a XP computer to work on it, and it won't even react to a Windows XP anymore. So sometimes it resets itself and sometimes it doesn't.
It was state of the art at the time, I will have you know.
Well, we all
And we
know-
can do conference calls.
We all knew how state-of-the-art this called.
So was a Model T state of the art at one point.
It has served us well for
It has.
25 years.
It really
I was gonna
has.
ask,
It
how old
really
it
has.
was, 25?
It's old.
It's not, that's
We
pretty
got our
good.
money's worth out of it. Okay.
Technology has changed.
Emergency service vehicles, we'd like to talk about that on Monday when you have the entire emergency services group here, but I recently went to the Emergency Vehicles Committee meeting, and we worked on a 10-year plan. You know, the first 5 years is pretty solid.
So it's updated from what you have in
Yeah.
your book, and I'll provide that for Monday.
Yeah. And then the following 5 years, you know, might need to be tweaked, but I think the first 5 years, we're pretty solid on what they want to do and what it's going to cost, and you can see what our plans are for building that account over time.
Good.
Yeah. Let's see, and the Potts Point Pier, I mean, we're
we
not,
skipped
we can
emergency.
skip that because we're
We're
everything's.
talking about that next week, too.
Oh, equipment, sorry. Emergency services equipment, which was after the service vehicles. We're going to suggest that that appropriation be removed, that 50,000, because if you go to the other funding category, and this is on the sheet we handed out today, that I've kind of been using that because it's the most up-to-date. T-Mobile went on the tower at Mitchell Field recently. And we negotiated a contract when that tower was built. Blue Sky built the tower and owns the tower. But the agreement is that the town gets a certain amount of money anytime a new carrier goes on. And we get this one-time $35,000 figure. We previously asked the voters we were expecting this to come, but we weren't sure exactly when we were going to get it. We should be getting it this month, we understand. And so we have to buy some new equipment for a tower in Cundy's Harbor that the voters approved the town entering into an agreement with Michael Weber and his company to put equipment. That equipment is estimated to be $120,000. So clearly between our existing reserve, this new piece of funding, you know, we'll definitely have enough money, and we don't need that 50,000 that we, you know, back in October, we were kind of like, you know, let's be safe, let's put that in there, but we talked today, and we really don't think that's necessary.
And the estimated 120 is at 2023 rates, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
that's why we gave ourselves a buffer.
What was the amount that you would get from the T-Mobile addition?
The 35,000.
Oh, 35, okay.
But then do we also get a new rate, Terry?
A new lease,
A-
right, but
a
that's
new
not
lease
dedicated
rate,
to
right,
the.
it's not dedicated, that goes in the general fund, the lease rate.
But while we're suggesting the removal of 50,
Yes, then we may come back to you with about a $16,000 appropriation for a maintenance agreement on the equipment. So we purchased, gosh, you're going to have to help me with the number, I think about $200,000 worth of new communications equipment on all the existing towers. So we've got one at Orr's Island, we've got one at Mitchell Field, we've got one here at the transfer station. It's all part of our emergency communications network. We updated that equipment, and this new equipment on the Cundy's Harbor tower will tie into that. But this equipment is expensive. We have to have maintenance agreements. When it's not working, you got to get it fixed immediately. There's no time down on a emergency communications network. So, we would like to have $16,000 for keeping that kind of maintenance arrangement going.
It'll be a new account. We've had our maintenance agreement since our one-year warranty expired, but we were paying for that maintenance agreement with our American Rescue Plan Act funds. And so those will be extinguished in early 2026. And so we need to start budgeting for the maintenance agreement. So it will go in the emergency services operational area. Obviously, for a maintenance agreement, we can't take that out of our capital reserve.
Are this for law enforcement purposes?
No, this is for fire and rescue.
Fire and rescue.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And is that $16,000 a yearly fee that you'd have to
Yeah.
pay?
It's really closer to 17.
Oh, 17, yeah, so
It's
it
a
should be
subscription.
17.
Well, the company,
Needs to be paid every year.
it needs to be paid every year, but they are on call, and we have exercised our maintenance agreement in 2025. They come, they climb our tower, we have top priority with the agreements and the fire departments. You'll hear from them next week if you have any questions about that, but they have requested not to go without that agreement.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the vendor that we use, they can use a computer and try to find the problem immediately. I mean, you need somebody with that kind of expertise to deal with
Oh,
these
yeah.
issues when they happen, so we really can't be without it. It's not something the staff can perform.
Cast around to see who's willing to climb the tower
was-
in raging windstorms.
Nobody-
Matt, there you go.
No, I don't do heights, that's why I belong.
They prefer fixing it with a computer. dear.
Check and check.
So then we get to capital roads.
No, you
and-
skipped Potts
Oh.
Point Pier.
But there's no appropriation.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
That project's going along very
Right.
well, yeah. Capital roads, we're proposing 300. We have an existing reserve that got some money in it, but partly because we had some damage from those January 2024 storms, and we didn't know when we were going to get the FEMA
Right.
reimbursement, or were they going to pay us up front? So our voters approved allowing us to work on these projects with town money, and we have since been reimbursed for Little Island Road.
Well, you have handed out today a FEMA,
Yeah.
you'll see the FEMA receipts and expenditures. We've
Which is-
received $611,000.
So again, part of the reason why the capital road reserve is high is because we didn't know when those FEMA funds were coming in, but
But again, as part of the plan that Christie talked about earlier, we have some big roads coming
yeah,
up.
we do. We do.
And so
Yeah.
we
So
just
the-
need to prioritize with the road commissioner.
So the Ocean Street has not been done
No,
yet.
so that's what we're going to be focused on in 2026, getting that done.
We'll carry over the FEMA money for that.
If I'm reading this correctly, FEMA has contributed 29,000? Or is that, am I not reading it correctly?
Are you specifically talking about Ocean Street?
Yes, I am.
No, we've expended 29,000 so far on engineering.
Oh, paid out, okay, so,
367. They've received.
$368,947 is what we received from FEMA.
oh, there it is, okay.
And then we have a local, so FEMA and MEMA, they pay 75 and 15%. And then the town has to have a 10%
Okay.
local match.
Okay.
And I will say that our emergency management agent and fire administrator, Mike Drake, was responsible for all of the paperwork
Oh,
that
wow.
was involved, and it was.
Getting this,
Yeah, I can imagine.
He did amazing.
I mean, there was a lot of online. I should say paperwork has really gone online, but the number of forms that needed to be filled out, I mean, over and over and over again. I really hats off to him. He did a wonderful job. Yeah, we're
Good
very
for him.
fortunate.
okay.
Yeah.
So, something near and dear to my heart. The Potts Point dock, you were hoping to get some money from FEMA for that, or did you, or we?
From FEMA, they paid for removing the debris. But we did get insurance money for the
But
pier
they're
itself.
supposed to pay for the additional raise in the
Right.
the resilient steps that we took, the extra float, but that's not
And
to
then
be.
raising it and widening.
Right, so they're supposed to pay for that portion, but that's not to be finalized until 2026, after the dock is built and the insurance is settled, because FEMA will take into account what we received from insurance. So it is unclear, some are not certain we will receive FEMA funding, since we have received the insurance amount of money that we have received. But we're continuing forward and filling out everything we need to try to acquire that in
Yeah,
2026.
I just know that we had discussed that,
Yeah.
the cost to the town would not be as great as it looked.
Right, because we've already received like 95,000 in insurance money. There's another almost 10 coming, about 9. When we finish the project, we're going to get some more from the insurance company. And we did have a $15,000 deductible on that, so FEMA may cover the deductible. Again, they want to wait till this project is done, and,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
yep, yep.
Good.
We think it's likely to be more than the cash received so far, cost-wise.
Do we think,
do
at
we
this
think they're willing to
point,
get?
we have enough funds to cover this project right now?
If we do not receive any additional
yeah.
FEMA.
Because you appropriated from
Unassigned fund balance.
Yeah.
fund
Yeah.
balance
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, yeah. You know, they haven't started constructing yet, but they have the plan, they're ordering the materials, they visited the site, they're ready to go. They say that it will be functional for this coming boating season, so.
Who's doing the work?
It's Custom Floats out of South Portland, and they give priority to municipal governmental projects, so we're very fortunate that they're taking this,
You're
it's
excited?
one of their top
No
projects.
more walking over the seaweed.
Yeah, I know. I bet you're excited.
I think it's gonna be very nice.
Ooh,
Wider, higher.
Yeah.
My knees will appreciate that.
Okay, dry hydrant replacement, this is part of how we, deal with getting water to fight fires.
Sure.
We don't have any public water supply, so we have ponds that we use, and we just had the voters approve entering into, or accepting an easement. We have a property owner in the Cundies Harbor area off Bethel Point Road willing to grant an easement to the town to use the pond for this purpose. It's going to cost us about $20,000, so we have 15 in the account. We'd like to add 10 to it. And then for the Resiliency and Sustainability Reserve, I would really like to have Mary Ann Nath, the chair of the committee, come out and speak to you. I do think the document you received was very well put together by that group. They have spent a lot of time talking about these issues and keeping them in the forefront. And so I think Mary Ann could speak to that much better than I could. If you're interested, and I think this is a topic of interest certainly to Mackin, right?
Very much.
I was very impressed with the memo.
I'm going to bring my own microphone too.
Do you want to go to the
Yeah, to the
podium?
Phil Donahue style.
Yeah.
I'm dating
Yeah.
myself.
It's fun.
I
Matt.
remember him. You were a little girl then. I was grown up.
I wasn't.
Oh, now she's,
Okay. I think two things I'm going to do, just from what I've been listening today.
Okay.
Two things that came up. Linda, you were asking about the interaction between the committee and the town.
your committee and the town, right? That's what we're talking, yes,
Right.
that committee. Okay,
The Resiliency Committee.
yes.
Okay. What we try to do whenever, for example, on the roads and so forth, we try to we work on some solutions to some of the questions you've asked, and then we do pass it through to Christie, and in case, and then it will go to the Budget Committee as well. As far as the roads themselves, we were starting to prepare for roads by finding out which ones would be most likely to overtop frequently. We chose the listing that you got, using modeling that was done. We then proceeded to make a prioritization schedule, which I believe I attached. We were trying to come up, well, how do we pick which roads you look at first?
Yep.
And so basically, that particular chart is attached. I think what we're looking for is we would like to continue to pursue studying these things. We realize that once we prepare and give you information to cost, it then comes over to you to discuss. What I could say we also have is a capital investment plan, which is part of our sustainability plan itself. The state is looking for towns to start preparing. Now, it doesn't always have to be just construction. It can be some of the things that, as you start looking around as a town, that become judgments, basically, how often are you willing to have a load over top before you're going to spend millions of dollars to change it.
Sure.
So we try to give you some other options on every study that we've done, and they're included by the engineer. I think that what we've been able to do is give you an idea of the 4 most vulnerable roads in town that are town roads, 5 actually, and 2 landings that are used by the working waterfront, of what the costs are going to be.
Do you want to name those? I think it would be good to name them.
We have Abner Point Road, which the cost there to raise the road, well, not raise the road, there's some other options to do that, $1,670,000, and these are in 2025 numbers. Bethel Point Road, Mac, and I hate to say, is the most expensive. And that's almost $3 million to make changes over Hen Cove. Not even considering you have a town landing at the end of Bethel Point Road.
That's right.
So that's an area for consideration. It's going to take a lot of thinking. Basin Point Road, that was chosen, even though it doesn't overtop very often. That was chosen because of the amount of people that are on it, 100 or so people, plus a very large business at the end.
Yes.
So that was part of the way we were kind of rating. We did that as the first road that we did a study on. It was in 2018. And I since had that reevaluated by Gerald Palmer. And we figured that would be now, in today's dollars, $1.2 million. Not a very long piece either. It's just at the head of the cove, across from the pond that the land trust owns.
Right.
It's like 600 feet or something. But an interesting point was, because we had that, when Basin Point Road came up to be worked on, consideration was made whether this should be part of the project. And it didn't make any sense at this time, because we were told that the project they're doing on Basin Point Road would last about 15 years. We didn't feel, well, we didn't. The modeling didn't show that in 15 years you were going to be
Underwater?
exactly.
I hesitated to say that.
Well, yeah. We're going to have a lot of islands in town at some point. But I think what this can do positively is you have some ideas of what costs are going to be.
Yeah.
How you want to plan for that, I think, becomes another discussion financially with the town. And I see our part as we would like to continue to seek out areas that are going to be town infrastructure and find out what costs would be. Look for grants if the possibility comes up that we can construct one, which is coming up in January. We're looking at Garrison Cove Boat Landing. And that particular grant will pay for engineering studies, permitting, and construction. So I think we're in a good position with what we have to be what they call shovel-ready if funding when funding comes along.
Are grants typically available for resiliency
Right,
purposes?
right now they are.
Just broadly across the US? I assume we're all talking about federal money.
Yes and no. The state, of course, has the GOPIF main weight of what we're attacking, but much of the money that they're using is federal money. I think we found out with the last one, Terry, that's a NOAA grant. The new one coming up is going to be a NOAA grant. We're having to build in a lot more, what's the word, Terry?
The match or?
No, it's
Reporting?
reporting, and the state chose to give us $5,000 extra, knowing what the administrative expenses were going to be compared to the last two that we had gotten.
I don't know how this works, but do you have your finger on the pulse of available money on an ongoing basis so that if funds happen to be available as a routine course, we could put our bid in for those funds?
That's
cover
what
these?
that's what we're trying to do. The Spira account, which we just briefly talked about, is there for that reason. For example, this project that we're looking at, I talked with Christie and we looked at what money was left in Spira to see if we needed to budget for more the coming year to keep it at 100,000. And we didn't get a couple grants we thought we were going to get this year, so it's still at 124s in that amount. However, we know when we go for this next grant, we're going to have to front 5% of the total cost of construction. So wanted to be sure we had at least $35,000 to $40,000 in that fund so it could be tapped before town meeting.
It sounds like the grant issue is an enormous unknown with respect to looking
Yeah.
at these costs. You know, these are absolute costs, but grants could cover,
But they're
Who
so
knows?
competitive.
right?
Yeah,
We're
and they're
just one of
competitive.
many communities going after the same
Same
pots
money.
of funding.
Yeah.
We're all going after it.
And I think,
So do you think, I mean, I know
We
it's
don't know
this-
where we stand when we, you just never know.
So it's a don't rely on meaningful amounts of money being available for grants, and if you get them, great,
Yeah.
kind of thing? Is that,
Well, it's,
They've certainly acquired several for the planning part of it.
Yeah.
The construction is
Right.
more of what you said.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's pretty much, and I've sort of gathered now, it is probably federal money that gets funneled through the state, and this is how they take care of their infrastructure.
So that's a wild card.
Yeah,
Be
so-
meaningful, but don't count on.
yeah, I think it's a
count on-
good point what Terry made, though. A lot of money for planning, but then the
Yeah,
construction
construction
numbers,
is-
look at those
Construction's
construction
tough.
numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We,
no, the construction numbers are the numbers, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But that's why there's alternatives. There's the evacuation, there's the flood barriers, there's, because the construction is just so,
That's true, and it is. a
many
big-
aren't doing it.
You know, this is a big unknown that we're going to be facing in the coming years. And it comes down to how much money do you have to send to build all this infrastructure. You may have to come up with some other solutions that are less attractive, but more cost-effective.
Mary Ann, did all of these roads flood in the 2024 storms? The 5 that you have listed?
I'm just looking here just a moment.
I mean, I think top over is a better word, at least for Basin Point.
Yeah, I think that,
It
over
wasn't-
top.
Yeah.
One thing
It
that
was
we have.
water
to
going over, but it receded.
It
Yeah,
recedes.
but
And I think
receded,
that's
yeah.
one thing, we keep talking about sea level rise. We're affected
Yeah.
more by storm surge. Road floods over, tide changes, 2 hours later, you got the residues, the damage has been done, the residue's there, but the road itself, well, not always.
Most
Not
of
always,
yeah, most
right.
of there.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Okay, so
so,
there was spillover or whatever. What was the term you just used?
over top.
Top over.
Top over.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've learned that from Mary Ann.
It seemed more accurate, because when you think of flooding, you think
Yeah.
of places down south and.
Yeah, yeah.
And while we want to have our roads be very open to emergency services and so forth, you do get into some just economics of cost versus how much you're inconvenienced for how long. We've been also keeping in touch with the Fire and Rescue, with Mike Drake, to get a sense of how much water they can go through. And we also had some, on a couple of the grants, flood barriers that could be put up.
Right.
Again, there you get into then the storage, et cetera, et cetera. So there's other options, I think, that going forward, the town will be looking at, depending on how many are affected all the time.
Is there a shadow list just below these?
Yeah.
The next
How-
level.
Give us a sense of how big that shadow list is. Is it substantial?
This list is the public roads that will be affected by 1 to 2 feet of sea level rise. And we have it in our report. We have then a list of the roads that'll be affected by 3 feet and 6 feet. And that is available.
Does it expand exponentially? I don't need a lot of detail, just give us.
Well, town has so few public roads.
It's the
private
road.
roads.
A lot of
private roads.
And we have it on private roads, too.
Yeah.
And the list is bigger. No, it's not exponentially. We got, what, 2, 4, 6 here. It maybe is like 18 to 20, something like that.
Is that including the private, Marion?
No.
No.
That's
Private's
also-
really where it's at, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the issue with the DOT road, too, though.
Which one's that?
Well, down near the causeway. at
Oh, the
Pod Point
causeway.
is
Oh,
a-
yeah.
But also Schofield's, I thought that.
Yeah.
It is, but
Was
that's interesting. I think it's because it's gradual enough. The water can disperse when it comes in. That's modeled to not be affected until you have 3 feet of sea level rise.
Got it.
The one
So-
at the entrance to the town.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my
Schofield.
sense is
Not affected, meaning not
over,
over top.
right. Or flooded, or however they're using it. We also received a grant to do a modeling study of sea level rise predictions based on the town's new floodplain maps. That's in process, and it's going to be interesting because most of the modeling that has been done so far has been on historical data. This would be modeling on projected data, just as our new sea level rise maps are. It could be helpful in many ways. We can learn, I don't know, we learn that we're in better shape than we thought, or worse. And that study will be done at the end of the year.
But one of the objectives of that
Into
study,
2026, right?
if I may add,
No,
is
2025.
The Stantec is going to be done with that?
I'm sorry, no, 2026.
Yep.
Okay.
But one of the objectives of that study, or this ongoing study at the moment, is for individual property owners themselves to be able to look at this map that we hope to have on the website, correct? So
Yeah.
people can look at what might happen to their own property and make decisions about that.
So it's just a lot of planning and just trying to prepare yourself the best you can for the unknown.
That's all we can do.
That's all.
And again, the match for that is out of the Spearer account.
That's right.
Someday you're going to face some hard choices
Yeah.
with this, right? Hopefully that day is a long ways away.
I know the feeling.
You got to vote.
Yeah. Well, there are communities facing this issue
Yeah,
As we speak, right.
directly now.
Right.
Down in the Keys, I think on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
San Francisco has done a lot of work and has
Outer
decided which areas it will remediate, which it will not.
Yeah,
Can't
because
afford
you
to
can't,
do
you
it.
can't do it all.
Can't do it.
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying, when we looked at Basin Point Road, and this was 5 years ago, that, well, look how much it's going to cost to raise it 6 feet. And Mike Arman said at the time, when we went ahead, have to figure 6 feet, we're going to be looking at more than Basin Point Road.
Right.
You're
Right.
talking about the whole
Lot.
town, then, a lot of things to consider. So, thank you. And if there's anything else, you know.
I think the work you're doing is just.
Really good work.
Christie is absolutely fabulous,
It is.
essential, and very
It is.
forward-looking.
It's really, we have really a good
That's
group of
all.
people
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah.
They're really good.
And you have members from other town committees. You're very well represented on that committee.
Yeah, every town
Yeah.
committee and that, and in fact, I'm going off track a little bit here, but last night at the Fisheries Committee, we had such a good committee meeting and talking to them about the grant we want to go for. But it's always good to get the input from the committees that are involved in these things.
Exactly.
And we're hoping that there can be better interchange that way. Because we do have a representative from each committee on this committee.
That's off to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Mary Ann,
much.
thank you.
Mary Ann.
It's terrific.
And lastly, there is one number I wanted to point out on the sheet we handed out today. And it has to do with Mitchell Field. It's a fund balance of $50,000 that we want to propose be used to remove the hazardous materials in the Sentry Building, and that's the small building at the entrance to Mitchell Field. We're not recommending anything with regard to the generator building at this point, because that's another conversation piece, but it appears that there's, support for keeping the Sentry Building, and we do have people using it for storage purposes, and we have a report that says it would cost about $50,000. I will say that same report is the one we used for the administration building at Mitchell Field, and we initially had 230 from fund balance, but we did sign a contract for 144,000. So we won't be using all of that money, and we'll go back into the fund balance. So I'm basically saying, can we use 50 to remove the materials from the Sentry Building? I think that's a good next step.
So you don't need to add to that
No, I mean,
reserve.
I don't, this is
Because
kind of a
of-
one-time special project, is maybe what I'd like to say. Yeah, I don't really want to call it a Mitchell Field Reserve that's going to be ongoing at the moment,
Okay.
Yep. At this time.
Okay.
But that is an idea for the future, Linda.
Okay. No, I was just, well, you have, sounds like some money left over from the admin building.
Well, it'll go into the general fund.
General fund, okay.
So,
Or we just won't draw it out of the general fund, the unassigned fund
yeah,
balance.
yeah, sorry, yeah.
Right, got it.
Is there a possibility that some of that will be used at some point to remove the slab at the admin building?
It's been hard to get an estimate on that. Some of the contractors who came to the site visit, we asked them about that, and they said, you can run into some money because you never know what's under that. Did something seep in? You can't see if there had been some, I don't know, contaminant under the ground, but we couldn't get a number.
And I'm not certain we've seen that be described from the selectmen as a priority.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think we're going to move on to item 4, which is our consensus or items to talk about consensus today. So we're going to start with the recycling center and transfer station, which we discussed last week, Monday, earlier this week.
Since I couldn't hear that discussion, was there any controversy in the back and forth of Chuck's presentation?
I don't believe so.
No, I think he's as parsimonious a manager as you could reasonably expect us to have.
I agree. He and I have met, and
Yeah.
I've gone over the whole project.
Flipping and then.
He's
Well, there was also.
concerned with costs everywhere you look.
You're right. The only thing, one thing I remember was at the transfer station, eventually possibly needing to charge more for unsorted materials
Yeah.
that are left there. Because right now it's a double fee,
Yeah.
but it's taking more of his employees' time.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I think that's fair.
does anyone remember anything else there?
I think that was it. So an adjustment to that fee at some point, we're likely to see.
Did he speak to the design revisions of putting a mezzanine to have a sort of an overseer's office
No.
in the building, things of
No,
that
that's-
sort?
We didn't get into that
Yeah.
detail.
Specifically,
Yeah.
he
No.
talked
I don't
about
think the select
process.
board has gotten that report yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
But we'd like to put it on an upcoming agenda to get
yeah,
a progress report from the working group.
good.
Yeah,
All right, because he and I talked about that.
okay.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right, so is everybody good with that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then we had cemeteries, 1230. And before we do that, I had a question. Let me get there. In reviewing it for this meeting. What is it? 1230. Let me get there. Sorry. It has to do, I'm not sure if this is a Terry question or a Christie question. Under ancient burial ground, it says, a cemetery established prior to 1880. Do they mean cemetery was established
Yeah.
then, or the grave was established?
Oh, well, the grave, the cemetery where graves are.
Okay,
Maybe not
so
the
I would-
organization itself, but that there existed stones from that period.
Okay, so I'm guessing that just about every one of our 5 cemeteries isn't.
They might have a section that
A
meets
section,
that,
right.
you know.
But it says the cemetery, so that's why I'm confused.
I think it can be a section,
That's how
like-
I've understood it.
yes.
That's how I understood it, but
Yeah.
right there
Yeah.
it says, it's an ancient burying ground if the cemetery is established prior to 1880.
I think it's just
Sections of
great.
these cemeteries are considered to meet that definition of ancient burying ground.
So,
But not the entire cemetery, just the section that has stones.
okay, well, it doesn't say that, so, okay. So because I was thinking okay, so where I'm going with this is the Orr's Island Cemetery, in their request for additional funding, mentioned that, I believe, that they wanted the town to support the ancient burial section.
That 3,000, extra 3,000 was for that?
That's what I understood, that was part of their justification. That they had an ancient burial section and,
They've identified 44 gravestones in the ancient burial grounds sections of the cemetery that will require professional help from
Okay.
Colette Monuments to repair. Beginning next year, we're going to budget $2,000 a year for this purpose until the repairs are complete. And they were proposing to split the cost between the town
Okay.
and the association.
okay, so their additional 3,000 does not all go to that, but, okay, okay.
But then they go on to say they're asking the town to split the cost of hydro seeding and the True Green proposal as proportioned to the ancient burial ground sections. So more ABG area for certain ground improvements. So their additional funding is all for the ancient burial ground.
Okay. I'm struggling with this. That, and I also have a question about Cranberry Horn Hill, which I've asked Terry about. She stated to us that they had $29,000 in their general fund. 11,000 something in their perpetual fund.
That's my recollection.
And I was thinking that they maybe could take over the mowing, except for the veterans' grave, with some of that money from the general fund.
They said that 6,000 for mowing.
Right, right. We've been subsidizing
Yeah.
that. They're, with the vets that they have, or, sorry, veterans, they get 3,000 from the town.
Right.
But they were asking for 6. And last year, they got 7,000 from the town. So I would propose that they get 3,000 for the veterans' graves, to maintain veterans' graves.
I
Linda
agree with
endorsed
that.
that.
I'm definitely there. I honestly think that that would also supply a little bit of pressure to them to get their
Yeah.
game together, and it appears that there's been limited progress
Yes.
You were
over the
correct.
last year or so in that regard.
And we had actually brought that up last time, and yet nothing, not a lot has happened since.
Right.
There's no-
They did have some generous helpers to go in and volunteers to
Yeah, that's,
help with things, but
But there's
it's
real
not
work
the
to
same
do
as
in
funding.
sort of basic organization of forming a board,
Right.
of coming up with a fundraising plan, doing the things that every organization has to do. They just haven't taken those steps.
Okay.
I think they've tried. They've indicated that they need some more volunteers, perhaps some people that live in Cundy's Harbor.
Right? I'm already there.
So I'll also go out on a limb, I'm struggling with the Oars Island request. That, and I said that at the time, that if we were going to help them with their ancient burial grounds, I think all of these cemeteries have ancient burial grounds.
You know, I think if you want to look at it from a standpoint of, look at their general fund balance.
That
I mean,
too.
they don't
That
seem
too.
to have the financial need for.
That's
I think
in there
it's more
too.
where they'd like to see this go in the future, but there's not a financial need at the moment.
Right, and thank you for adding that, yeah.
yeah, that's right.
So, with those two thoughts, would we want the Oars Island to be 3,100 for the veterans' graves?
Yep.
Instead of the extra or additional 3,030.
Yes.
I can get
Okay.
behind that, yes,
Okay, and then Cranberry Horn Hill would be 3,000.
yes.
Asking them to, or suggesting to them that they use funds from their general fund to pay for the additional mowing. Then the other three, it's all for the veterans' graves, so.
Yep.
And then it's more equitable.
What's that, Jane?
It's the same for everyone.
Yeah,
More equitable,
yes.
is what she said.
Yep.
Jane, that microphone is not that close to you, and you are very soft-spoken. So do you have a, Terry or Christie, information that we should know about? No.
We're just sharing a book, so I had a
Oh,
question.
okay,
Sorry.
okay. All right, I think without those changes, are we in consensus?
Yes.
Yes.
Road maintenance is 2,200. And I'm good with that. I did have a question, which is, it's very minor, so I don't want us to spend more than 1 minute on this. He mentions in his report about, this is in the backup report, of all the projects he did. It's about 10 lines down, that he did something at High Head for speed limit.
I didn't see that.
It's, oh, sorry, way over on the right.
Under
How far
work
down?
performed?
Work performed, it's about, I don't know, 10 lines down. High Head speed limit on,
We would not do anything on High Head, so I'm not seeing it, but
okay,
There it is. It's in that first paragraph. First word is sign, and a new stop sign, high head speed limit.
Sign and new stop sign.
Yep. So it's under Handy
I'm
Harley.
in the wrong place.
that's
It's
really
the
interesting.
fourth
We
Handy
will
Harley
check
down.
that.
So-
It says Neal's Point is the road, though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
so maybe that was just
I
a,
think it's just maybe somebody typed
I
it
think
in
there's, the
incorrectly.
speed limit sign is right there by the High Head Road, so.
But it wouldn't be ours.
Yeah, that's the state
road.
Matt, I
Yeah,
thought-
you're right.
I think it
Yeah.
pertained to Neal's Point because that's the road.
Neal's Point is a public road.
Yeah,
but-
and maybe
Yeah, I
somebody.
was just
Oh, Neal's
surprised.
We'll
Okay.
follow up, but we
Okay.
would not spend money on High Head Road,
Okay.
period. It's
It-
private.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Are we good with that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you all, sorry.
No?
Law enforcement,
So I do want to mention that in your handouts today, I did do a comparison of
yes,
So,
thank you.
25 to 26, so you can see where the increases are.
Oh, yeah. It was, it's still kind of shocking on the, here it is. Wait a minute. Law enforcement comparison. Do I have the whole thing here? It just looks like this.
Yeah. you've got it. Linda, I don't know that we
Terry,
do.
these,
Let's look at. this-
Are these
this-
larger
the
increases?
Yeah,
The nine-
oh, is there another page to this?
with
That one.
Here, you can take.
Yeah, this
I
one.
did them,
Right here, this.
A really long one.
This one.
No, it's longer than that.
it is longer than that. When I emailed it to you and when I printed it, I print it separately for my book.
Okay.
So,
Didn't
because I want it
capture
in each
everything.
category, so it was the one I emailed was complete. My
Right.
apologies for that.
Okay, yeah, I thought, because I couldn't find it. Under marine, it's just a comment that benefits went up almost 62%.
But that was the, I'm sure it was the
So-
health insurance.
That's the health
Yeah,
insurance,
somebody
but
might
that's
have
a
switched
lot.
From, they might have switched from
I know,
single
I'm just
to-
commenting.
Yeah, I know,
In shock.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Are these larger increases, the 9.8% salary and comp for relief and so forth, are they negotiated through a union contract?
Yes.
All right.
They're in a union.
And we, maybe you didn't hear this, we discussed it last time, and jump in if I don't say this properly. They have a trouble retaining their
And
officers.
recruiting.
That's
And
And recruiting,
Yeah.
because other law enforcement agencies like Portland and so forth can pay more. Yeah, so they're trying to keep up with that,
And for harbor masters?
apparently. Okay, thank you so much for that. So it is what it is,
Yeah.
and we need law enforcement. So are we okay with that one?
Yes.
Begrudgingly.
And was that a yes from everybody?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Okay. If you don't say anything, I'm going to assume you're okay. Now we're on marine wardens, including boat operations and marine services. We discussed that last week. Or Monday. Seems like last week.
It does.
It does, you're right.
We're good? And social services, we had quite a discussion on that. We never really got into Sweetser. Do we want to support that effort or not?
Question?
Yes.
Did Sweetser ever actually give a proposal to us? They did,
They asked for 2,500.
but they were late in doing that. Is that
No.
correct?
No,
They were not.
no.
Okay.
They had requested it, and then when there was a small quorum here, those three wanted Sweetser to come, but then to come and present. But
Right,
then we
that
had
was
a-
the day I had
We had
this.
an updated conversation on Monday, and then the committee decided not to have Sweetser come in person. And the bigger question that we were asking is, did you want to even entertain new ones? Last year, you did not. So that was the question.
So I'll just stick my foot in here and
Okay.
you guys can react. The total here, year over year, shows about a 26% increase.
Right.
26. And that's roughly 9 times the federal cost of living adjustment in 1 year. That's a big increase. So in Dave's world, that would be a decision to meaningfully increase the real size of this budget this year. This is not a business as usual kind of budget.
Exactly.
So the way I look at this is I wouldn't, that's too much for me. I would take out Sweetser and I would apply the approximately 4.72% factor that we're seeing, I think, in the overall budget to this budget and allocate that increase ratably or however you'd like to allocate it. So meaning I would make this increase in line with the whole budget so that the real value of everything that people get is maintained the same way. And if you want to reapportion that to give people plus more, that's a separate decision. That's just my calculus on it.
But People Plus could be incorporated in that 4.8%. So they would be, it would be a pari passu.
Yeah, it's interesting, we don't have percents here with this.
I think it just
You-
fell off the page, like
Oh,
copying.
Yep.
really?
No, we've never done.
Oh, we've never? Oh, okay.
But we also,
Let's imagine a proposal like that.
it's, I'm not liking it.
Yeah, I'm
Because
having a problem.
some of
with it.
these organizations need more and do more.
And
Yes,
are
yeah.
very specific to Harpswell. We could ask why People Plus has risen so much, but I think it does have to do with their association with HA, but that's an assumption. So if we wanted to ask them why they're so much more this year.
HA has its own line here.
Well, HA
Right,
has
but
its own.
People Plus has increased
Yeah.
cost by handling the,
Transportation.
Yes,
transportation
which is involved with
portion.
HA.
Well, remember too that those two are disproportionately represented to begin with here. So I would argue that the allocation to those, based on the benefit that our community receives, which is more leveraged, is already there.
Right.
And that is the essential point for decision. to me.
Okay, so what is your proposal, Dave?
Well, it's more, it's
Exactly.
a straw man for the committee because we haven't discussed this in any detail. So it would be to increase the total budget by about 5% over 2025, or whatever Terry tells us is the overall budget increase for the town. It would be to leave Sweetser at 0 this year. We could always revisit that in the future. But it doesn't feel like it's the time to add another,
No, right.
another
Yeah, the
entity.
only thing, and we never really got an answer to this about Sweetser, what they get some federal funding, I believe. Was any of that curtailed with recent?
Was that the reason they
Changes.
reached out on them?
We don't know. Nobody knows.
this is the first time I've heard
Okay,
that
so what-
question,
And
so
right.
then
I'm
I
not
spread
asking
the-
No,
that.
we didn't get to that.
That's a new thought.
I did ask, I just found it, so I'm sorry for the delay, and you've moved on, but I want to go back to People Plus. When I did receive that, I said, you may be invited to come because you have an increase. Perhaps you could enlighten me on that. And she said, the increase is based on the cost of the software and program for the rides portion of the
rides.
program, and staffing and retention.
But we're not.
So, said a slightly different way, if you agreed that the increase in the budget here should be consistent with what we're seeing across the entire budget, about 5%, that would give you about $1,750. Terry will check me on this, which you could apportion any way that you wanted. Meaning you don't have to do it pro rata, you could give it substantially to the people who have requested more money.
I have another curveball to add to this that I neglected, to point out on Monday, and I apologize. But I have highlights on two of my lines in my book because, as I indicated to you on Monday, when, the community fireworks had submitted late, I always carry the current. And there's two entities that never even got back to me with applications. One being Independence Association, $1,500. I've not received that application despite follow-up. And then the Red Cross, they sent a letter saying that at this time, they cannot, fill out all that, but based on how many people we view, I'll find this letter. So I don't know if that goes into your, when you're reapplying things. It was a general letter that says how many responses they just submitted a letter of request for municipal support and not our application. And they generally said that they respond to more than 60,000 disasters across the country, 525, 220 people affected, and that was, and they trained more than 41,000 people in first aid, CPR, collected over 137,000 blood products, and installed more than 2,800 free smoke alarms. And so this was the reaction I got that said, in their cover email that said, here's our letter of support, but they were not, had
They
the
didn't give the
ability to
specifics,
complete
yep.
this. So I wanted to make sure to point that out to you, and please accept my apologies for the late
That's very
timing
important.
on that.
No, I think, and I've saw that somewhere. Did we get it in an email, maybe? Maybe you forwarded it to us?
Maybe you did. I told them in an email.
Does that cause you guys to think differently about those two?
Yes.
Well,
I felt like
the
the-
independence.
The Red Cross one was very, very general for the whole country. And it could be the same thing of people, retaining people that can fill out these forms for a small amount of money.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
But our concern is Harpswell,
Right.
very much.
So
And we
it's-
don't really have any idea how much Red Cross has participated to the welfare of individuals in Harpswell.
Well, we do on the next sheet,
But they didn't fill it out for.
but they didn't fill it out. They
Current, for the 20,
haven't filled it out.
they didn't give us the 2025 statistics for
Okay.
this request.
Yeah.
And Dave said that maybe they don't have the manpower to do that.
That was my thought.
Yeah, Linda's thought.
Yeah, but this is just this year's sheet.
But Independence, they didn't reply at all.
Well, we got something here
Oh,
for independence.
Independence,
I thought we just
You said you didn't get any.
I didn't.
It's on the sheet,
Three
the backup sheet.
people were served.
Yeah, 3 people being served.
Do you want me to look?
Do you know what they do? I know what they do.
I do
Yes.
not know.
Okay.
They work with learning disabled individuals,
Adults.
adults. Well,
Adults.
yes,
is what my
adults.
understanding, yeah.
Yeah.
When they can no longer stay with their parents.
home.
This is my understanding. And they need to be living in a group house or something like that. This supports,
That's
They
important.
support art programs for them and help them with transport to their places of work. And yeah, I'd say it's a general,
Sounds like you tried to follow.
but we have 3
Generally
people in
benevolent
Harpswell
organization. Yeah.
who are participating in this because of
yes.
challenges.
I think I kept the prior year data in for Independence Association,
Okay.
and I did not have that for the Red Cross, even the prior year.
I'd be okay with taking Red Cross off the list. It's been a couple years that they haven't said anything to us. Is that what you're saying, Terry?
They did submit an application last year, but the numbers that they provided were not comparable, they would
They were
say.
the general for the whole country.
Yeah, I'm sure they just don't have the time to do it.
I agree.
All right. All right, so where are we with this?
Yeah, I'm double checking, but I don't see anything from Independence either in your proposed budget.
It's been the same for 5 or 6 years, it looks like, for independence.
So the numbers, if you took if you freed up the Red Cross, the Independence Associates number, and a 5% applied to the 25 budget, you have $4,750 to work with across the remaining entities. Which would go a fair way, a substantial ways to satisfying the additional requests of the 4 entities at the top, 5 entities at the top.
Do you think? I'm looking at.
Certainly would.
Did you find something?
Please, would you remind me what Midcoast Community Action does?
They do women, infant, and children. They have some
Some heating support.
emergency shelter funding or rental funding for people.
Okay. That's not the same as sexual assault
No,
support services?
no, no,
Okay.
different.
And what's through these doors? It says family crisis after it?
I think that's like, can be domestic abuse, trying to get families some help, is that?
Okay, go back to
one?
community
Yeah.
action and tell me again what they
Huh?
do.
They do more
Yeah.
women, infant, and children, kind of a assessment of certain situations, and they can provide some federal funding for low-income women, and specifically trying to help children in the family with
Whatever's needed.
financial assistance for children and infants.
Okay.
It's focused on that.
And they did respond to us this year?
Mhm.
Okay. With the increase? Okay. Can we pass on this?
Yeah, you can. You can have. You're
Perhaps.
meeting next week. You
Yep,
can
we have a
have.
meeting, we have 2 meetings next week.
Yeah,
Right. Good
idea.
Monday's meeting is the fire departments, which will be long, and we will have lots of questions for them. I'd like to go think in my head about this idea, Dave.
No, I think
Yeah.
that's fair. This is
yeah, you put out
challenging
something-
calculus.
Yeah,
And
yeah, you put some
But we're
things
creating
out.
a
I
good
threw that out there to at least give us
A
an
thought.
anchor to windward from which to think about this.
Yeah.
But what we've done in this discussion, though, is begin to create a framework to think about it
Right.
and make judgments.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
Yeah, and I just want to think about what each of these groups does.
Yeah, I think that, I'll beat the dead horse one last time, which is, I think this conversation goes to the need to have this portfolio managed in a more rigorous way than occurs now. It appears that it is significantly, let me call it socially awkward to ask the town staff to do that, even though it's just a recommendation that we would look for. But food for the future grist mill is there a subcommittee here of a couple of people who would be willing to spend some time prior to this budget season just going through this, at least in a rudimentary fashion, once every few years?
Or you could even meet with representatives from the organization as a subcommittee and
Right.
report to the full.
And not
Or
every,
maybe the
not
whole
every year by
committee.
any means,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah,
world here
not
doesn't
every-
change
yeah.
enough,
We've
but
done that.
we have to refresh this thinking occasionally.
Well, as we remember, when they came, which they did,
Yeah.
it was very obvious to me that they all did some good things for
Yes.
many people.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah. But if you're going to kind of tackle this as a subcommittee, it seems like you would want to hear from the organization.
And the purpose of the subcommittee is not to eliminate it, but
Yeah.
when, Madam Chair, you're fabulous, but, but when you scratch your head and you say, what do these guys do?
I've
That's
for-
exactly
I've
what I'm
forgotten what
talking
they've
about,
done,
right?
yeah,
No, and
yeah.
as I've forgotten more than you,
Because we don't have.
from a lower base to
Right,
begin with.
right.
We have
agree.
listened to them in the past.
Here's another piece. When I prepare for these meetings, I think about what the questions will be. And these amounts, I know they're small. Percentage-wise, they're not, but they're small. And no one said at the beginning, I'm concerned about our social services and, what we're doing with it. And, I would have probably done more research. I did do research on the new
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So I
I
could
did too.
make sure I understood what they did.
And I'm happy to offer again, as I have probably in Monday's meeting and a prior meeting,
Every meeting you've.
we have all of their applications.
Yeah.
If you don't
Yeah.
want all hard copies, do you want me to email you every one of
Was
them?
it just Monday that we talked about these? Or was it 2 weeks ago when?
Must have been Monday.
It was Monday.
Feels like
Yeah.
Monday,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was Monday.
Yeah, it was just Monday.
And Monday feels like it was 2 weeks ago.
We're all feeling the same way.
Right, so okay, yeah, I didn't, well, we only had 3 of us.
Right.
There's
Yeah,
less
we only
going
had
on when
3
we
of
don't have Mac in here.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, can we,
Why don't we defer it?
yeah, we'll defer it.
Knock the can down the road.
Okay, and was there another one on our list? Cultural, okay, 6,000.
And I do want to remind you that the sheet that you have, there were 2 changes to that.
Yep.
Community fireworks was 3,000, and Harpswell Invasive Plant Partnership does not need to apply for next year, reserving the right to apply for future years. So that is 0.
Yep. Just a note. The, given the new leadership at the Harpswell Historical Society, and given some challenges that have occurred in the past with respect to cash management, next year it might be nice to hear from a bookkeeper from that organization to talk about what they're doing to make sure that the books are in good order.
Certainly endorse that.
I think they've been pretty flat for a while, and they're doing catch-up now with the new leadership there.
Yeah, yep. I'm
That
not
was my
arguing about the
understanding.
numbers here at all.
Right,
That's, I'm
right.
making a separate point.
Right.
you know.
We did have a question about Harpswell Neck physical education.
I did email the questions. I suspect that wasn't enough time from Monday to
Right,
here.
all right. Do you want to hold on this, or go with this without that information, or?
I will
hold
say-
just on that one?
I will say, as I re-reviewed the information in detail, she had submitted, as all the entities have, submitted while you were looking at the application that said, the application asked for what your fund balances were at the end of the year. But then when you looked at her detailed balance sheet and profit and loss, because I think one of your questions was, why can't you cover that yourself? And I think you may have been looking at the 95,000 in the restricted account. But when you looked at the updated information, their restricted account was down to 11,000, excuse me, let me just look. No.
The unrestricted account.
They have 7,200 in their checking account, and then their money market, which is the capital account of 3,300.
Terry or Christie, what has been our support historically
For
for
that organization.
HENP?
About $3,000 a year for quite some time, is what I recall.
Okay,
And then when they were in this capital campaign for resurfacing the tennis courts,
Yes.
they asked the town to contribute to that.
So what would be the rationale for us now to pay for plant, in addition to the 50,000, to pay for plantings and
Oh,
other,
that was
Yeah.
it.
and
Yes,
other
thank you.
kinds of things? I'm having a little bit of a hard time with
Maintenance.
that request.
I think it was unclear, too, if there was going to be this ongoing request, if
Yes.
And
That
that,
was my
for
question.
pickleball, court maintenance, or,
Yeah, court
I'm not
maintenance.
sure.
It was unclear.
do you want to hold off until we get the answers? Maybe we'll have them by
I
Monday.
would like,
All right, so hold
Yeah,
off.
that'd be
Yeah.
good.
'Cause
Anyone else on this list?
Yeah.
It's a long list and it's different entities.
yeah.
Are we
Remember-
good with the others, or do we need more information on any others?
I'm good with the others.
I'm good with the others. Can I make one additional comment that, as it relates to NP and recreation in general in town? We hired a new full-time recreation, or
Yes.
full-time, part-time, new recreation director, formal hire. And there are bits and pieces of recreational items throughout, sprinkled throughout this information. Shouldn't we keep track of what the aggregate dollars are that we're spending on that in the future? I guess maybe a little bit to Mackin's point, which is you can't control the costs unless you know what they are. And if you put them all in one place, then we know what the recreational budget is, whether it's capital at Henpe, whether it's maintenance, whether there's something going on down at Mitchell Field, requests. They're sprinkled throughout. Wouldn't you want to know what we're spending on that recreational budget? I've heard that recreation is a new sort of emphasis in town from the selectmen. Let's keep track of how emphasized it is and we want it to be.
HENP is a whole different organization than,
But it's recreation, right?
I,
Yes.
But
You're
they
talking
won't-
about only the organizations that the town funds. Because like, for instance, the land trust has a trail system, but they don't ask for any public funding. Occasionally, they
Right.
have.
Yeah,
We
no,
have-
I
we have
didn't mean to be
contributed-
prescriptive
okay.
with the definition of
But-
of what that means, but
Okay.
just something to think about, because I struggle with that personally when it comes to Mitchell Field. I have to, when people say it needs to pay for itself, I have to look in various places to see where the revenue comes in, where the one-time antenna costs come in, where the costs are. And I'm not suggesting to change that, because I think it's more complication than it's worth doing. Food for thought.
It's a good thought.
I mean,
you're in
HOD
rare form today,
Well,
Dave.
the thing is, HOD
You've
does a
inspired me,
few,
Chair-
HOD does a
Chairman.
few little recreational things, like they might have a chair yoga class, and
Yeah,
we
right.
contribute a small, I don't know how much time, you would want to spend, but you want to see the organizations that the town contributes to, what they're doing for recreational purposes, and what we're contributing. I'm just
I
trying to
would say if you have a
understand.
recreation director, do you have a budget for that recreation director that
Yes.
encompasses all the activities that,
Yeah.
and
Oversees the
expenditures
town-
ranging from
Town
Mitchell Field
activities.
to,
that's
Trails.
put on by her.
Yeah.
I mean, when you keep saying Mitchell Field, all through the
Yeah.
rec programs or the rec department?
Okay, so
Using
that-
Mitchell Field for a wedding, it's going through the recreation department, they're handling many of the
okay,
issues.
so all revenues from those activities, all expenses from those activities are going under the, somewhere in here, under the budget of our rec director. So I can turn to a page and say,
The revenues aren't dedicated to
The-
that.
Well, we have a special recreation
Some of them are, yes.
fund, and so the rec programs that are in your sheets, those are all dedicated to the special recreation fund. The department is not part of that special fund, and those will lapse or go over. But when you talk, like when you brought up weddings, no, that goes to our general fund. That is not staying in our rec,
Right.
in our rec fund.
But she oversees it.
But she oversees it.
Yeah.
I've belabored it. It's probably more of a casual conversation that needs to occur, and maybe it's just me needing to learn, but when Henpe comes in, and I understand it's a separate organization, but that's a sort of the 50,000 went to recreation, right? The 3,000, if we were to approve that, that's a recreational expense, maintaining that. The capital expense of putting in plants and berms and buffers and whatever,
No.
recreational expense. That's all I'm after, and maybe I've just got to sort that out in my mind.
I think the landscaping question is a good one.
It is a good one.
I don't really
I
know
kind
that
of
we were
think
ever
of-
asked about that.
Right, it seemed like to me that that would be part of their whole project for redoing the tennis courts.
Right.
So we'll get answers to that.
Yeah.
I did want to say that in your handouts today, too, you were provided additional information from Curtis Memorial Library.
And that was very interesting.
Yeah.
That was great. I was,
Like
it
20
was
items per
startling,
person.
really, to see how many hits there were, and that's just physical hits,
Right,
right? Not
right,
online hits.
right.
No,
Right,
there was no
right.
online digital.
Right,
no.
or just walking in to look
walking
around,
in.
yeah. Or get your computer repaired.
Yeah.
I don't think
Which
that
is the
was
deal.
counted.
I need to go.
Oh, I forgot about you needing to go.
I've been a good boy.
You have been
Way over my
excellent.
time.
Oh, my
You went way
goodness.
over.
Oh, my goodness, please leave.
The Holbrook Community
Please
Foundation.
feel free to leave.
Reason to adjourn, isn't
okay.
it?
Well, then we get down to 3, things will go faster. Sorry, Megan.
You're still okay.
Have a good evening.
You're still,
All right, so I think we're good, if I understood this right, we're good on cultural, except we had some questions about him.
Okay,
Thank
that's what I have.
Okay, thank you. And, wait a minute, now I lost my agenda.
I would appreciate minutes review because I
Yes, please.
do try to keep things
So
current
we
for the
have
public.
December, oh, we have 3 of them to go over. Okay, no, we just lost somebody. November 24th, I was going to abstain. 2 of the 3 people are here. So Jane and Dave, are you?
I've reviewed the minutes, and I think they're an accurate representation of what occurred at
they're
the
in
meetings.
here. Oh, they're in my book.
Okay,
Yes, I
so,
reviewed them last time.
all right, 2,
I think you could, on the basis of that, I know you weren't here, but.
I did watch the meeting or listen to the meeting.
I think
yeah.
that's okay.
All right, fine. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, December 1st.
Yep, I read those too.
Okay, we need this motion to accept? Yep, okay.
Yes.
Robert's rules out the window. December 8th, accept? Okay, we're all accepted. Thank you, Terry, for writing those up.
You're welcome.
And if the administration has nothing else for us, thank you for putting up with us today.
It was
And,
fine.
You did great.
It was fine.
So I'm not sure I'll get today's minutes done or the agenda. I'm out of the office tomorrow, but just know it's your fire departments and your
Emergency services?
emergency services, so the 3350, the 3230, and the 3 departments.
Okay.
And the capital account, there is an updated spreadsheet. I will definitely email that.
And would you, if time permitting, would you want us to do some consensus on items
Yes,
that we did today?
yes, please.
Okay.
I did get online about the question, can you approve minutes if you weren't here? Board members or attendees can generally approve meeting minutes even if they weren't present at the original meeting, as the vote signifies confidence in the secretary's record, not eyewitness testimony, according to Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh,
That's what I'm
you're
doing
too
today.
much.
We do it all the
You're
time.
too much. Okay. With that, we adjourn.